So as you can see today, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to look at how we can use our elimination and substitution methods that we have done so far, or our graphical methods, to look at some basic, straightforward word problems. We're going to focus on two variables to start off with today, and I'm just going to go through a couple of examples with you, and then we can hopefully apply the skills you've got so far to this type of equation. The most important thing to remember for each question is that you write down your simultaneous equations before you attempt solving them using elimination or substitution. Hopefully by now I don't need to go through the Teamy post in detail. Please make sure that you answer the questions in the order provided, and obviously you can ask me questions on what to do if you really don't understand, but I'm going to spend more time in this video just talking about how to do it as opposed to going through the Teamy post piece by piece. So let's jump straight in with our first example. We've got a simple question here. Ben buys 2 pencils and a pen for 50 pence. Adam buys 3 pencils and 2 pens, costing a total of 85 pence. You'll notice that in the question, this first one, I've defined the variables for you. So I've said, okay, X is pencils and Y is pens. When you do these types of questions, okay, sometimes it will define it for you, sometimes it won't. Okay, if it doesn't say specifically what each letter should represent, then you need to write that in your answer. So X means pencils, Y means pens. It doesn't have to be a long essay, just very simple. X equals pencils, Y equals pens. So we look at the first sentence. It says we've got 2 pencils and a pen. Well, 2 pencils, we know pencils are represented by X, and we've got 2 of them. So it's going to be 2X, and then pens, 1 pen, plus Y. We're adding the costs together because we are combining them, and the total is 50. Notice we don't need to put pence, okay, just the numerical value is fine. Okay, after that, we can then look at the second one. We've got the same basic idea, 3 of one and 2 of the other. So we can say we've got 3 pencils and 2 pens is 85 pence. And that's a simple example, and hopefully what we can see now is we have something here that is like what we've done in the past, where we've got 2 simultaneous equations and we can choose which method to use. Now you may have your personal preference about which method to use, and remember both methods are absolutely fine for any question. Some of you might decide that you want to take this first equation perhaps and multiply it by 2 to get 4x plus 2y is 100, so that you can, run off the page, do elimination method by subtracting the 2 y's, and that's fine. Some of you may look at this and say there's a single y, so you want to change it to y equals 50 minus 2x to do substitution method, and again, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to use substitution method because I think we've had a little bit less usage of that as a group. So just to show you another example, so I'm going to take those 3 equations. Let's just take the whole page and let's make a copy so we can solve it. So we've got our 3 equations now. Remember, we're going to focus on using the green to help us answer the other things. So I'm just going to move that over there. Oh, don't need that. So we can substitute in our new equation into the blue one, which will give us 3x plus 2 lots of 50 minus 2x is equal to 85. Now hopefully you'll see that when you expand the bracket, you're unfortunately going to end up with a negative x, but that's okay. We're going to end up with 100 minus 4x is 85. Then if we combine the x's, we get negative x. And then we subtract the 100. And we get negative x is negative 15. But as we know from our first algebra unit, that's absolutely fine. We just inverse them to get x is equal to positive 15. Now remember, we did the substitution on the blue equation, so we need to put x is 15 into the red equation because we've already used the blue one. Notice I'm not putting it into the green one because that's one we made. You always substitute into one of the 2 original equations. So it's going to be 2 lots of 15 plus y is 50, and 2 15s are 30, so 30 plus y is 50, y is 20. and then we put both of those into the blue equation. 3 lots of 15 plus 2 lots of 20 is 85. Let's just check that works. We've got 15, we've got 20. That gives us 45 plus 40 is 85. That works. So we've got 15, 20 as our solution. So write your equations, choose your method, and then the method you solve is absolutely the same as what you've already been doing. If you want more guidance on substitution or elimination, there are separate videos which you can go back and watch, and they're still available on the YouTube channel for you to do. Let's look at another example. Remember, anytime if you feel like, yep, I'm okay with this, I'm ready to move on, then you can stop watching this video and start on the teeny activities. Okay, so we've got a different type of question. It says in a fruit shop, we've got 5 bananas and 8 oranges for $2.85. 5 bananas and 12 oranges for $3.65, and then it gives you a third equation which it wants the sum of. So what this question is saying, let's do the first part first. We've got 5 bananas and 8 oranges. So let's define our variables. I'm going to use B for banana. What a surprise. Oh, bananas. And I'm going to use, now I'm not going to use O because O can be confused with a 0, so I'm going to use oranges, R for oranges. You could have used any letter, doesn't really matter. So the first equation is going to be 5 bananas and 8 oranges is equal to 2.85. Obviously it's a decimal, so we're likely to get a decimal value for B and R. Use your calculator to help you. Okay, next one, we've got 5 bananas and 12 oranges. So I'm going to say, okay, that seems 5 bananas and 12 oranges is $3.65. Now the final part of the question, it says, okay, we've got 2 and 3, but it doesn't give us the value. That's what it wants us to find out. So essentially it's saying 2 bananas and 3 oranges is going to be something, and that's something that we're trying to work out. So we're going to ignore that bit there for a second. We're just going to kind of tuck that in the corner, and straight away hopefully we can see, oh look, we've got 5 B's there, 2 of the same. This is a classic elimination method question. I'm going to put the, oh, not the whole thing, undo that, don't do that. I just want this, please. Oh, this is going badly. Do it carefully this time. So move that to the bottom so I can subtract them because I've got 2 positive 5Bs. Okay, we need a bit more space. Let's move this up. So I'm going to subtract these 2. B's cancel out. 8R subtracted from 12R gives me 4R. And when I subtract these, I'm going to get 80 pence. So R is going to be 0.20. Now I could have put 0.2, I've put 0.20 because it is currency, and currency normally is given to 2 decimal places. Then we follow the same normal steps. I'm going to substitute the R into the first one, so 5B plus 12 lots of 0.2, I'll show you can do it either way, 365. Remember to use your calculator if you're not happy doing this mentally, and then that gives you 2.40 is 365. Subtract that from both sides. 5B is 125, and then B is equal to 25 pence. Now, at this stage, don't forget, first of all, we're going to do our substitution, but before we do the second substitution, when you've got a decimal value, just think about, is it realistic? Yeah, bananas, 25, oranges, 20, that sounds about right when the costs are about 360. Okay, if you were getting like bananas at like $3, then obviously you probably need to think about why you're getting that answer. If you're getting a negative value when you've got prices, you also know that's not a reasonable solution. So you'd have to think a bit about that. So let's put both of them into the other equation, the one in blue. We've got 5 lots of 0.25. I'm looking down a lot, aren't I? Plus 8 lots of 0.20. And when we do that, it gives us $1.25 plus $1.60 is $2.85. It works. But we need to make sure that we finish this. So we know we need to think about the cost of each one, but also into this equation. So we're trying to find the value of 2b plus 3r. We know that bananas now from the previous page are 0.25. Should hold this up so I'm not looking down as much. And oranges are 20 cents because we had those from here and here. And when we put those in, we get 2 lots of 0.25 plus 3 lots of 0.20. So it's going to be 50 pence plus 60 pence is 1.10 pounds. And that's our answer. So sometimes you'll get a simultaneous equations question where you have to solve it, but then substitute it into a third equation that you're going to create. So you're creating 3, but you're solving 2. Okay. Okay. So a third type of question you might see, again, if you're happy with this, please feel free to stop listening to me and watching me looking down at an iPad screen and have a go at the questions, but I'm just going to keep going through 2 more examples. So here we've got a question where they give you a formula where you have to substitute in to the values. And you've got to be very careful here because it's got hours and minutes together. Okay, so it's getting a little bit harder now. Not impossible, but do be careful. Now notice it says t is time in minutes. So the first thing we should do with this question before we start is say, okay, I've got 2 hours and 51 minutes, 60 minutes in an hour, so that's 171 minutes. Here we've got an hour and 59, which is 119 minutes. So before I even start, I should be thinking very carefully. It says A and B are constants. So A and B are going to be what we're going to solve. We need to find the values of A and B because the weight and the time can change, okay? But we need to know what A and B are before we can solve that question. So here we're going to have to do it. First of all, we create our equation again. Oh, it's already given to us. We don't need to do any creating, but we do need to now do some substitution. We know that when T in the first one was 171, then W, weight, was 12 kilograms. So we can create an equation which says 171 minutes was for A plus B times 12 kilogram weight. Then we can rearrange that to make it a bit easier to use. 171 is A plus 12B, and that's our first equation. We can do a similar thing with the second one. We know 119 minutes for an 8 kilogram roast. So we can say 119 minutes was for A plus B of an 8 kilogram roast. So again, make it a bit easier to use, A plus 8B. Hopefully we can see this is a classic example again of a good question for elimination. We take the larger one, which was the larger roast, the 12 kilogram one. 171 is A plus 12B. We can subtract our 119 is equal to A plus 8B. Doesn't matter if you've got the numbers on the left, numbers on the right, still elimination method, still the same basic steps. When we subtract these, obviously the A's go away, we've only got 4B remaining, and we've got 52 here. Oh, not 2 zeros, that's not having a good day today. And then we divide by 4, 13 is equal to B. And usual steps, put B into the first equation or the second equation, then put A and B into the other ones. So let's just take this one here, and we'll just move that forward. We're going to put it into this equation here. So 171 equals A plus 12 lots of, and we now know that B is 13. Hopefully everyone can do 12 13s. Don't worry if you can't, you can use your calculator. 171 is equal to A plus 156. 12 12 is 144 plus another 12. And then subtract that from both sides, you get A is 15. So now we have A is 15, we put that into the other equation, which was A 119 is equal to A plus 12B, and then we substitute A is 15, so 119 is 15 plus, no, it's not 12 times, it's 8. What am I doing? Checking my answer, that's what I'm doing. 8 lots of 13, and when we multiply those out, we get 119 is equal to 15 plus 104, which works. So how long will it take to cook a 5 kilogram roast? Well, that's the final thing we need to do. So we need to make an equation. T is for time, which we're trying to work out. We now know that A is 15. We know that B is 13. And we know the weight is 5. So we can say that's going to be 15 plus 65. T is equal to 80. How long will it take? Well, you could either say 80 minutes, or we could say 1 hour, 20 minutes. So a little bit of a more complicated question because it's got some substitution, it's got a little bit of simultaneous equations, but we can see that essentially it all boils down to creating equations you can use elimination or substitution with. Okay, let's do one final one here. So I'm not going to do this one for you, make it a little bit of a difference today. If you're watching this video and you've got this far, I'd like you just to have a read of the video, have a read of the question, and then in a second, I'm going to tell you when to pause. And then I want you to pause it and try and do it yourself. Okay? And then a little bit less descriptive than the last one, I'm going to get you to solve it, and then you can just check your answer. So read through the question and pause the video now. Have a go at the question. When you've answered it and you think you've got an answer, click play again and you can check what you've done. So you're pausing. Okay, so hopefully you're back now with me and we're going to go through the solution. So I'm going to do it a little less talking through each step and just kind of just saying what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So the first question I'd say B is buns. Hopefully you defined your variables. And T is t's. Use letters that make sense. We've got 6 buns and 3 t's are 165. Then you've got 11 buns and 7 t's are 340. When I look at this, I'd probably think, the first question all has factors of 3. So I would rearrange this first one into, so dividing it by 3 to get 2b plus t is 165. Then I'd rearrange that to make t the subject. Then I would put that into here. What a go around. So I'd have 11b plus 7 lots of 165 minus 2b is equal to $3.40. Don't worry about the negatives, they're going to cancel out in a minute. So I'd then say 11b plus 7 times plus 65. So I'd do that on my calculator because I didn't write it down, even though I know the answer for the whole question. That's 1155 minus 14b is equal to $3.40. And then I would say negative 3b is equal to, so I would then subtract from the 340 minus 1155. And that would give you negative $8.15. And then 3b is 8.15. So b is equal to, and you divide that by 3. So $8.15 divided by 3. And I say, oh no, what's going on here? I've got 2, 7, 1, 6, 6, 6. Oh no. So I look at this and say, well, something has gone wrong. And that's okay. It's okay to get an answer that's wrong and look back at your working. Oh, screensaver just came on. So I'd look back and say, okay, I know I've done something wrong. Can you spot what I've done wrong? Hopefully you see it's this bit here. I forgot to divide it by 3. This happens sometimes with your simultaneous equations. By writing out your steps, you can see where you went wrong. So I'm going to go back to this. I knew my answer was unreasonable, so I now know, oh yeah, I forgot to divide. Silly. That should be 0.55. So then t equals 0.55 minus 2b, and I put that in. Let's try it a bit better this time. 11b plus 7 lots of 0.55 minus 2b is equal to 340. Oh, already looking better. 11b plus $3.85 minus 14b is equal to $3.40. Oh, it's looking better. So negative 3b is equal to negative 0.45. So b must equal 0.15. Oh, that's a much nicer answer. Let's put that into the other equation. So 6 lots of 0.15 plus 3t is equal to, sorry, not 0, 1.65. So 3t, this is 0.90, plus 3t is 165. 3t is 0.75. T is 0.25. So we've got 15 and 25. So let's bring that forward. B is 15. T is 0.25. We need to put that into the second equation again. So 11b plus 7t is $3.40. Let's just check that it works for the second one. 11 lots of 15 plus 7 lots of 25. Use your calculator if you don't like this. It's 340. Whew, it's a lot of working out, isn't it? So then we do 11 times 15, which is 165. 7 times 25, which is 175. And that does give us 340. So now we can be confident that works. Finally, let's make the last equation. 5 and 6, we're trying to find out the cost. So we're saying 5 buns and 6 teas. We're trying to work out the value of that. Well, that's going to be 5 15s are 75. 6 25s are 150, and we add those together and we get 225. So if you got 225, great job. So simultaneous equations and word problems, hopefully that gives you a little overview. That's quite a long video, so well done if you made it all the way to the end. And if you have any further questions, we can discuss them in the Google Meet. But hopefully after those long examples, you're ready to try some of the word problems that I've made for you on Teamy. So jump to Teamy now, have a go at those. Hopefully they'll go well for you, and good luck.